A steel giant leaves the shoreline far behind, heading deep into the open ocean in search of giant yellowfin tuna.
Every coil of longline and every swivel is inspected, because any weakness could fail against a giant tuna. Oversized hooks are prepared for one target only, the powerful giant yellowfin tuna that roam offshore. Tons of bait fish are staged on deck, fuel for a longline that will stretch for kilometers across the sea. The ocean reminds the crew that here, weather is an opponent as real as any giant tuna. Each branch line is coiled with care, soon to carry a single baited hook into the blue. Bait is pushed firmly onto each hook, a deadly invitation aimed specifically at giant yellowfin tuna. Surface floats wait in stacks, markers that will show where the invisible line cuts through the deep. Without sonar or gadgets, the captain reads currents and season, trusting hard-earned experience instead of screens.
A final briefing unites the crew, every man knowing the risks and rewards that come with giant oceanic tuna.
The first baited hooks slip into the deep, beginning a long highway designed for roaming yellowfin tuna.
Below the surface, baited hooks drift into position, forming a silent corridor across the water column.
Each hook floats patiently, a single steel question waiting for the ocean to answer with a bite.
On deck, the work never pauses, as hundreds of baited hooks leave the vessel in steady rhythm. Surface floats mark each section, turning an invisible system into a visible pattern across the sea. Out in the blue, powerful yellowfin tuna drift into view, drawn toward the easy meals hanging in mid-water.
Cautious at first, a giant tuna circles the bait, testing the trap with slow, deliberate passes. Soon, several giants glide along the line, their metallic bodies flashing as they study the suspended baits.
With the final section deployed, the crew waits, knowing somewhere below, tuna are already investigating.
Instinct finally wins, and one giant surges forward, engulfing bait and hook in a single decisive strike.
On the surface, a single float twitches and leans, the first visible sign of life below. The crew springs into motion, reading the float's behavior like a language written on the waves.
Below, the giant tuna responds with raw speed, turning the longline into a taut, slicing cable.
The line begins to sing through the guides, and the crew carefully feeds just enough pressure back into the fight.
Another giant commits, turning a single encounter into a multi-fish battle along the suspended hooks. Two floats now jerk out of rhythm, revealing that more than one heavyweight is on the line.
The powered hauler locks onto the line as the crew braces for a heavy, drawn-out fight.
Even as some giants are already hooked, other baits still hang, waiting for the next powerful strike.
Several hook tuna now tear at the system, turning the longline into a web of high-tension angles. The circle hook seats cleanly in the jaw hinge, designed to hold hard without tearing flesh apart.
One giant surges toward the surface, testing every knot, crimp, and swivel on the rig. Curious companions trail the hook giants, circling the chaos but staying just beyond the steel.
With another burst of power, the largest tuna drags the line sideways, refusing to settle into exhaustion. Minute after minute, the giant drives forward, every muscle committed to shaking free of the hook.
Its sickle tail carves perfect arcs, an engine built for migration, now locked into a losing contest.
Opposing giants pull the system into a deep curve, each one becoming the other's counterweight in the fight.
The tuna rolls suddenly, trying to twist the branch line around its own body to loosen the hook. Gradually, its speed drops, each beat of the tail costing more energy than the last. Now it circles under tension, locked into a pattern that signals fatigue to the crew above. Across the long line, multiple branch lines pull hard, each one tied to a separate battle in the blue.
Tiny vortexes peel from the line as every shudder passes up the system toward the vessel above.
At last, the largest yellowfin levels out, no longer charging, locked in a slow standoff with the longline. With its energy fading, the giant starts a reluctant climb toward the light and the waiting crew above.
On the surface, floats begin to bounce in rhythm, announcing that heavy tuna are finally ready to be hauled. The crew locks the main line into the hauler, trading muscle alone for controlled industrial power. Slowly, the first float is pulled in, its wake boiling as the tuna below resists every meter gained. Even with hydraulics, men still lean into the haul, feeling every surge through their gloved hands.
The first giant flashes into view, a sudden explosion of silver and yellow before it plunges back down.
The hauler turns with ruthless consistency, converting the tuna's wild power into steady, grinding progress.
Tight circles at the surface tell the crew that the tuna is finally running out of room to fight.
The branch line rises, a direct, vibrating link between crew and the giant still hidden beneath the chop.
Rolled onto its side, the giant beats its tail furiously, spraying water across the steel hull.
Guiding pulls keep the fish aligned, protecting gear and crew from sudden, unpredictable lunges.
Another float begins to dance, proof that this haul holds more than one heavyweight contender. The first giant is locked off, and the hauler shifts focus to the next battle, waiting down the line. Several separate fights now play out along the same long line, scattered across the choppy surface.
Wind, engines, and shouting blend into one sound as the crew pushes deeper into the hull cycle.
Watch the port side, bring it up easy. Got it, Cap, coming up.
A dorsal fin and sickle tail break the surface, revealing the true scale of the giant battling the line. With the tail secured in a lifting strap, the crew prepares to bring the first tuna out of the water. The crane swings the fish inward, every movement measured to avoid damage to deck, gear, or crew. At last, the first giant lands on steel, a solid victory in a game with no certainties. There is no pause. As one fish hits the deck, the next battle is already underway.
Another giant thrashes at the surface, refusing to surrender, even as the line shortens meter by meter.
Boots locked against the rail, the crew pulls the second heavyweight within lifting range.
Paired floats surge together, linking the struggles of several giants spread along the line.
Soon, a line of huge yellowfin marks the deck, each fish proof of the system's brutal efficiency.
One last float jerks hard, the final holdout still fighting at the far end of the long line.
It takes two men on the rail to guide the final branch line safely toward the vessel.
Its tail still chops the water, but each kick is slower now, each circle smaller.
One final heave and the last giant joins the others, ending the day's run of hard fights. The deck becomes a gallery of giants, each one tagged and checked as the haul is secured. With all floats gathered and lines slack, the long line returns to storage, It's work done for now.
The deck is washed clean around the catch, preparing the space for careful handling and grading.
Tape measures confirm what eyes already knew. These yellowfin are on the extreme end of the scale.
Precise bleeding preserves meat quality, turning wild mussel into premium-grade tuna for distant markets. From open deck, each fish is guided toward the processing spaces hidden deep within the vessel.
Below deck, the noise of the sea fades, replaced by bright lights and stainless steel surfaces.
Skilled hands remove heads and tails, reducing each giant to a streamlined body of dense red muscle. Long loins of deep red tuna slide free, the most valuable sections separated with precise, practiced cuts.
Firm grain and rich color signal high quality, the kind of tuna sought by top sashimi buyers worldwide.
Loins move down the line toward sealing and chilling, every step designed to lock in freshness.
Sealed and packed in ice, the tuna begins its transformation from wild catch to controlled cargo.
In the vessel's cold rooms, rows of iced containers hold nothing but the day's giant yellowfin tuna harvest.
Chilled totes are cycled back topside, ready for transfer when the vessel reaches port. Pallet jacks and lashings keep the load stable, ensuring the tuna rides safely home through rough seas.
With the fish secured and the deck rinsed, the vessel shifts from battle mode back toward routine. As evening falls, the steel longliner turns toward port, carrying tons of high-value tuna in its chilled holds.
At dawn, the offshore hunter becomes a docked supplier as it slides gently against the commercial pier. Cranes take over, lifting pallet after pallet of chilled tuna from steel deck to solid ground. In the auction hall, tuna loins gleam under bright lights, each crate tagged and ready for bidding.
Experienced buyers study color and firmness, searching for the lots that meet strict sashimi standards.
Numbers climb quickly on the board as competing bids lock onto the highest grade yellowfin on the floor.
Colored tags and quick scans seal each deal, transferring ownership of the giants in seconds. Forklifts race to feed the cold chain, pushing every high-value pallet straight into refrigerated trucks.
Inside the reefer trailers, chilled air wraps each crate, preserving the red flesh for distant restaurants. Some of the catch enters containers bound for export, destined for markets far beyond this port. A towering crane swings the reefer container aboard a cargo ship, extending the tunnel's journey across oceans. Far from the stormy fishing grounds, a chef finally opens the crate that holds the ocean's hard-won prize.
Trimming away outer surfaces, the chef exposes flawless red tuna, ready for careful slicing.
The loin becomes uniform blocks, each one sized perfectly for sashimi or seared steaks.
Thin slices fall away from the blade, each translucent piece capturing the tuna's pure color and texture.
Some cuts meet fierce heat, seared on the outside while the centers stay rich and ruby-colored.
Simple plating lets the fish speak for itself, red slices standing out against stone and ice. At the table, the story of industrial longlining ends as an elegant spread of raw tuna arrives for guests. One slice rises from the plate, its sheen hinting at both distant storms and precise handling. Around the room, steaks and sashimi plates carry the same origin, wild yellowfin captured far offshore.
Service, last tuna.
Hours later, the dining room falls silent again, leaving only faint traces of the night's service. In the kitchen, tools rest and surfaces gleam, the work of the day packed away until tomorrow. Out at sea again,
The same vessel greets sunrise with a bare deck and another mission ahead.
For the captain, each trip becomes a chapter in a longer story, written across open water.
The ocean now appears calm and empty, hiding new giants somewhere below the surface.
The steel hull cuts a white path toward another zone, where new longlines will soon be set. Coils of empty line rest in perfect loops, waiting to become the link between men and migrating tuna again.
Alone on the horizon, the Longline vessel returns to its role as a small moving point in a vast system. Clouds drift above and currents flow below, indifferent to the struggles carried out between them. The hunt for giant yellowfin tuna ends for now, but the open ocean keeps calling the crew back again.